Hello everyone, welcome to Q&A Academy. In this session of classes, we are going to learn complete concept of number system. If you want to know the complete concept of number system, then definitely you have to complete this playlist. But before going into the number system concept, first you should know the history of number system. When the civilization is started, people started thinking slowly. At that time, they used to found lot of difficulties in calculations. Then slowly they have started inventing the new process, and in that the first process is by using stones and pebbles they used to count. But it became very difficult for them to count with stones and pebbles, and slowly they have invented one more process, which is nothing but by using body parts only they have started counting. By using body part means they used to use their fingers and toes to count the products whatever they have. But if they have to count for large number of things by using body parts also we cannot calculate it. Then they finally found one instrument itself. In that instrument they have abacus. The instrument name is abacus. By using abacus they have started using calculations. But that also it didn't work out. In so many different cultures and in so many different languages, people started using the calculation in different ways. But the complete world thought that they need one perfect process which is important for each and everyone and which should be easy for each and everyone. Finally, they have started researching on that. At that time, from Hindu scriptures, they have found one important thing called zero, and also they have some clues on number system, which is nothing but decimal number system, which was invented by our great mathematicians and scientists Brahmaputra and Aryabhatta. They have wrote so many important things which are completely useful for mathematics. In that, one of the most important thing is zero. From there the complete number system concept got changed, and not only from Hindu scriptures, from remaining people like Greeks and Islamic people also, Egyptian people also, they also contributed in their own way to complete this decimal number system concept, and finally they made one perfect concept called decimal number system concept. What is this decimal number system concept? If you would like to know about this decimal number system concept, so let me explain with an example. For suppose if I take 1, what is this 1? 1 I'll be calling it as ones digit. Now if I keep 10 after this 1, then definitely it will become tens digit. In the same way, if I keep 2 zeros, then it will become hundreds digit. So how many zeros if I extend? Like if I keep one more zero, it will be 1000 digit. If I keep one more zero, it will be 10,000 digit. In this way, how much zeros we can increase, those many numbers also we can increase. This is the complete process of decimal number system. When they invented decimal number system, the number system got completely popular in all the different ways, and each and every one started using this concept called decimal number system. In this decimal number system only we have a lot of things. If you see what are the different things we have in this decimal number system, type 1 is classification. In this class we are going to discuss about classification, and also we have divisibility rules, and also we have factorization, factorials, units digit of a number, reminders theorem, and also finally we have LCM and HCF. These all are the important concepts which are important in number system. On all these concepts you'll be having each and every topic. In that we'll be solving some of the questions also. So if you can complete this playlist whatever we have done, so you can complete all those topics whatever I have written here. Now let us see the classification of number system. Classification of number system, it got divided into two different parts. The first part is real numbers. The real numbers got invented by Richard Dedekind. He thought that in decimal number system, there are some type of numbers which are very real numbers. So how did he told that they are real numbers? He told that whatever number which we can represent on a number line, those all numbers are called real numbers only. Here if you observe this line, whatever it is there, it is a number line. On this number line, I have 0, positive numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and also have negative numbers like -1, -2, -3, -4 and -5. With this I also have decimal values. Here you can see positive decimal value which is 1.5 and also negative decimal point which is 1.75. With this I have fractions as well which are -half and -7/2 and +half. So many different values, whatever value which you can represent on these number line, those all are called real numbers only. After the real numbers got invented, one more person named Gerolamo Cardano, he told that we don't have real numbers only, we also have complex numbers also. So first of all, what is this complex numbers? Complex numbers are such type of numbers where it is in the form of z equal to a plus ib. So in this, what is I? I is an imaginary part. First of all, what is this imaginary numbers? Imaginary numbers are such type of numbers, negative numbers, whatever negative numbers we have, like -2, -3, -4, -5, such type of numbers. If you keep under root, those type of numbers will be considered as imaginary numbers. For suppose if you see negative numbers will be not having any defined value. Such type of numbers, if you keep under root, those numbers they are considering it as imaginary numbers. If you multiply any number with imaginary number, then it is going to become a complex numbers. But here a is going to be a real part. Here also, if you start multiplying with imaginary number, or if you start multiplying, or if you start adding with a also, the complete number is going to be an imaginary number. In mathematics, whatever we are using, aptitude, whatever we are using, we are not going to use this complex numbers part. We'll be using only real numbers part. So we'll move into the real numbers part, and next we'll see what are the topics we have in real numbers. Real numbers, it got divided into two different parts. One is rational numbers and one more is irrational numbers. What are rational numbers? Rational numbers are such type of numbers where it is in the form of p by q. In this, q should not be equal to 0, and also p comma q are integers. Why q should not be equal to 0? Any number, if you divide with 0, what it will happen? It is infinity or undefined number. So here definitely our q, it should not be equal to 0. And the next point is why p comma q should be integers. If you would like to know that, definitely have to wait for 5 more minutes, so that at finally I am going to discuss why p comma q are integers. Now again, rational numbers, it got divided into two parts. In that first part is integers and the second part is decimals. So let me tell you what are integers now. Here you can see, what is this? In this we have all integers. Integers is nothing but where we have positive numbers and also negative numbers which is included with 0. Okay, these all numbers will be considered as integers. Now from these integers, if you remove all the negative numbers, those numbers are called as whole numbers. From integers, whatever we have, in that if you remove all negative numbers, those numbers will be considered as what? Whole numbers. Again, from whole numbers, if you remove 0, those numbers are considered as natural numbers. So from integers only, whole numbers, natural numbers, even numbers and also odd numbers also came from this. Now here if you see, we have decimals. If you observe carefully, every decimal will be under this type only. Okay, here in the first type you can see one type of decimals which are 4.5, 8.67, 34.56, 678.52. These are one type of decimals whatever we will be getting whenever we solve the questions. What are the type 2 decimals? In type 2 decimals we will be having 2.2222 so on, or 23.1444 so on, or 121.131313 so on. So these are second type of decimals whatever we have in number system. If you see the third type of decimals, here the third type will be 132.1456 so on, or 24.56745 so on, or 4.56735 so on. These are third type of decimals whatever we have. So we'll see what are the differences between type 1, type 2 and type 3. Now if you observe the first one, here for every decimal there is an end point. Yes or no? After 4.5 I have one end point here. After 8.67 I have one end point here. After 34.56 also I have one end point. Whenever we have end point, such type of decimals you will be calling it as terminating decimals. What will be calling? We'll be calling it as terminating decimals. In type 1 all are terminating decimals only. But if you observe type 2, in type 2 there is no terminating decimals because 2 is repeating continuously. Such type of decimals will be called as non-terminating decimals. In the same way, if you see type 3 also, in type 3 also there is no end here. Everywhere we have seen so on so many times. If there is so on here, then these types of decimals will be considered as what? Non-terminating decimals. Now, what are the recurring decimals? Here if you observe in the type 2, here 2 is repeating continuously, or 144 is repeating continuously, or 1313 is repeating continuously. First of all, what is the difference between repeating and recurring? Repeating in the sense, here if you observe same number 5, it got repeated again. But in recurring, the same number will be continuously coming. Here if you observe 2 is coming continuously, but here if you observe 5, it's just repeated again. So that is the difference between repeated and recurring. In recurring, same number will be continuously coming. So such type of decimals, if the numbers are same everywhere, such type of decimals are considered as recurring decimals. In type 1, if you observe, those are recurring decimals or non-recurring decimals? Definitely they are non-recurring decimals, because here there is no continuous repetition is not happening. If you observe third one is the recurring or non-recurring decimals? Definitely third one is non-recurring decimals. Why? Here if you observe, there is no number which is continuously coming. Here some of the numbers which are repeated, but such type of numbers will be not considered as recurring decimals. Here this is considered as non-recurring decimals. So how many different types of decimals we have? We have 3 different types of decimals. What are those 3 different types? In that, first one is terminating decimals and non-recurring decimals. In that, second one is non-terminating decimals and recurring decimals. In the third one is non-terminating decimals and non-recurring decimals. Now whatever we have type 3, which are non-terminating decimals and non-recurring decimals, those decimals will be considered as irrational numbers. What are irrational numbers? Non-terminating decimals and non-recurring decimals will be considered as irrational numbers. Not only those numbers, the prime numbers which are under root, which is nothing but root 2, root 3, root 5. These all are prime numbers only. The prime numbers under root are also considered as irrational numbers only. Not only that, negative numbers, whatever negative numbers we have, those numbers if you keep under root, such type of numbers also considered as irrational numbers only. With that, pi and e are also included in irrational numbers. So this is the difference between complete rational numbers and irrational numbers. Now if we move into the next part, here you can see natural numbers. Natural numbers, it got divided into three different parts. In that, first part is prime numbers, and second part is 1, and third part is composite numbers. You all know, I guess, what are prime numbers. Prime numbers are such type of numbers where we will be having only two factors. Such type of numbers are considered as prime numbers. Now let me explain you how we have to take only two factors. Here, what is the first prime number I have here? 2. Now, what are the factors of 2? The factors of 2 is 1, 2. So, here if you observe, I have only two factors. Such type of numbers only I am considering it as prime numbers. In the same way, if I take two more examples, which are 3 and 5. Now, what are the factors of 3? 1, 3. What are the factors of 5? 1, 5. Only two factors if I have, those numbers will be considered as prime numbers. Then what are composite numbers? Composite numbers are such type of numbers where we will be having more than two factors. Now here if you observe, if I take one example as 4, can you tell me what are the factors of 4? What are the factors of 4 is 1, 2, and 4. What are the factors of 6? 1, 2, 3, 6. What are the factors of 8? 1, 2, 4, 8. Here if you observe, wherever you see, the factors are more than 2 or not. In 4 also it is more than 2 only. In 6 also it is more than 2 only. In 8 also it is more than 2 only. Such type of factors will be considered as what? Composite numbers. Such type of numbers only we are calling it as composite numbers. Then what is 1? 1 is neither prime nor composite number. Neither prime nor composite number means it is not a prime number and also it is not a composite number as well. Why it is not a prime number and it is not a composite number? Because 1 has only one factor which is itself only. So 1 will be considered as neither prime and nor composite numbers. Now if we see the complete classification here, classification it got divided into two different parts, which is nothing but real numbers and complex numbers. What are real numbers? Real numbers are such type of numbers where we can represent those numbers on a number line. On number line, what are the numbers we can represent? We can keep 0, positive numbers, negative numbers, positive decimals, negative decimals, positive fractions and also negative fractions. Whatever the numbers which we can represent on a number line, such type of numbers only considered as real numbers. Then what are complex numbers? Complex numbers are such type of numbers which is in the form of z equal to a plus ib. Here in this, I is an imaginary number. What are imaginary numbers? Imaginary numbers are such type of numbers, negative numbers. Negative numbers if you keep under root, such type of numbers are considered as imaginary numbers. Imaginary number, if you multiply with any number or if you add with any number, then it is going to be a complex number. Now again if we come back to real numbers, it got divided into two different parts. In that, first one is rational numbers and the second part is irrational numbers. What are rational numbers? Rational numbers are such type of numbers which are in the form of p by q, where q should not be equal to 0. But here if you observe, P comma Q are integers I have told. See, in the starting part I have told you I'll explain about P comma Q are integers or not. Now here we'll see why P comma Q are integers. Now for suppose if I take one example as 2 by 3. Can you tell me 2 by 3 is a rational number or not? Yes, of course it is a rational number because 2 by 3 it is in the form of P by Q. Here it is Q should not be equal to 0 also. Here we have 3. So definitely we can consider 2 by 3 as a rational number, and also P comma Q are also integers here. If I take one more example, 5. Can you tell me 5 is a rational number or not? Maybe you are thinking that it is not a rational number. But if I write it as 5 by 1, then it is a rational number or not? Again, it is in the form of P by Q only. Here also Q is not equal to 0. So this also I can consider it as a rational number. But if I take one more example like square root of 2 by 3. Can you tell me square root of 2 by 3 is a rational number or irrational number? Here if you observe, prime number I am keeping under root. Prime numbers, if you are keeping under root, such type of numbers are called what? Irrational numbers. So here this number will be considered as irrational number, not as integer. So because of that I am telling you that P comma Q definitely they should be integers only. Now again, rational numbers, if you observe, it got divided into three different parts, which are nothing but integers, decimals, and also fractions. Here we are discussing about only integers and decimals. What are integers first of all? Integers are such type of numbers where we will be having 0, positive numbers, and also negative numbers. In these integers, if you remove all the negative numbers, remaining numbers whatever we have from 0, those numbers are considered as whole numbers. Again, from whole numbers, if you remove 0, such type of numbers are considered as natural numbers. If I have to talk about decimals, decimals got divided into three different types. In that first type is terminating decimals and non-recurring decimals. And the second type is non-terminating decimals and recurring decimals. And the third type is non-terminating decimals and non-recurring decimals. Non-terminating decimals and non-recurring decimals are considered as irrational numbers. Now what are irrational numbers? Irrational numbers are such type of numbers where we'll be having not terminating and non-recurring decimals. Not only this, here you can see prime numbers, if you keep under root also, such type of numbers are called irrational numbers only. Negative numbers, if you keep under root also, they are called irrational numbers only. With that, pi and e are also included. They are also considered as irrational numbers. Now again, if we come back to integers got divided into two parts, which are nothing but whole numbers and natural numbers. Up to there we already discussed. Now natural numbers, it got divided into three different parts, which is nothing but prime numbers, composite numbers, and also 1. What are prime numbers? Prime numbers are such type of numbers where we will be having only two factors. Such type of numbers are considered as prime numbers. Then what are composite numbers? Composite numbers are such type of numbers where we have more than two factors. If we have more than two factors, such type of numbers are called composite numbers. Then what is 1? 1 is neither prime nor composite number because 1 has only one factor, which is itself. Now complete classification I have discussed with you. So I hope all of you understood whatever I have told in today's class. In the next class, we are going to discuss about divisibility rules. So thank you everyone. Thank you for